Welcome to Is Your Liver Healthy with the Global Liver Institute. I'm your host and Vice President at GLI, Jeff McIntyre. Now, some of you may be familiar with our previous show, GLI Live, which really began as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure that critical information could get from the experts to their patients and to their loved ones in a timely fashion. But now here we are in 2025, and we're relaunching and rebranding our show as a monthly podcast. And don't worry, it will still be available on video like GLI Live was. But we'll be expanding this monthly show into all available platforms so you can access the latest and most relevant information about liver health in the way that's going to be the most convenient for you. Think of it as rearranging the furniture in the home you already know as the Global Liver Institute. And why the name change? Well, as patient advocates, we found this to be one of the most common questions asked by patients or those concerned about their health. So let's call out that question for what it is and ask about that from the patient perspective to the top leaders in the field, the political folks making decisions, the patients, the patient advocates, and frankly, anyone concerned about liver health. This is a show for conversations around the big and the little questions around liver health. While that may sound a little niche to some who may have just run across this, those who work in the field know that liver health is a gateway to so many other issues we face as patients, as caregivers, and frankly, as a society. Whether you're trying to figure out the best thing to fix for dinner, how to talk to your doctor, or what the latest in diagnostics or treatments are, we are here to learn from each other over the course of this monthly program. So we're calling this introductory episode 0, as we're using it to introduce you to the voices, the advocates, and to the team here at Global Liver Institute that you will see over the course of our new adventure. These are the leaders, the experts, the movers and shakers, and proudly the colleagues of mine that work to make a difference in promoting liver health. We wanted to give you an opportunity to get to know a little bit more about them, about their vision, and about what to look forward to in their areas of liver health. Let's get started. All right, let's go around the virtual room and introduce the members of the Global Liver team here. And these are also going to be people and voices that you hear and see in future episodes of Is Your Liver Healthy? I'm going to start with your name, and let's just start with your name and your title, and then I'm going to come back to you with a question about your area. So Sarah, let's get started with you.
Hi, great to be here. Sarah Maines. I'm the Liver Cancers Program Director at GLI.
Awesome. Kristen?
I am Kristen Hatcher. I'm the Pediatric and Rare Program Director at GLI.
Excellent. Gina?
Hi, I'm Gina Bardis. I am the Vice President of Patient and Community Engagement at Global Liver Institute.
And that brings us to Larry.
Thank you, Jeff. Larry Holden. I'm the President and CEO at Global Liver Institute.
Awesome. Okay, Sarah, I want to get started with you. Let's start with liver cancer. And so, as you and I have spoken in the past, we all, to a certain extent, work in liver cancer. It's a possible outcome for so many patients with liver disease. And we've seen it in the popular press, actually a bit lately with the Surgeon General's recent recommendation for warning labels on alcohol here in the US, with liver cancer being one of the very real concerns about that. Now, you've done so much with liver cancer while at GLI and really built that department into a powerhouse. Still, when it comes to cancer, man, the ocean is wide and our boat is small. As you consider the issues around liver cancer specifically, what are the challenges and opportunities you see in the field?
Absolutely. I think there are so many challenges and equally a ton of opportunities. The main types of liver cancer, HCC or hepatocellular carcinoma or cholangiocarcinoma, when we look at that, they're really, really tough. It's the 6th most common type of cancer diagnosis, with the 3rd deadliest cancer surrounding the HCC diagnosis. So what can we do to make sure we raise awareness on a cancer that oftentimes isn't talked about as much? At GLI, I think Global Liver Institute has done an incredible job of making sure that it stays front of mind. This needs to be in our conversation. A lot of that has to do with stigma. Oftentimes making sure that people are talking about it, asking questions, sharing what's happening with them, and also making sure that our medical providers are also asking those questions and being advocates for our liver community. We know that it's connected a lot of times to lifestyle metabolic diseases. So if we look at obesity and heart disease and diabetes, oftentimes those linkages, those links, those diseases can cause some answers to us on looking at our lifestyle and how we can help. But we also know that things like access to treatment and screening and vaccination for hepatitis can have long-term impact to the diagnosis of liver cancers. So how do we raise awareness? How do we make sure that patients are getting screened, how they're looking at their liver health, especially when it's connected to non-alcoholic fatty liver diseases, and really make sure that those conversations are being had so we can support that community.
Awesome. Kristen, let's talk about pediatric and rare for a moment. And I feel like, personally, I've learned so much about rare liver diseases and frankly about myself in looking at those issues. And the conversations I've had from the folks with, groups representing intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy. Make sure I don't trip on that. That's why we call it ICP. Wilson's disease, Alpha-1 at our Advanced Advocacy Academy have really been enlightening. They've been humbling. They've been, energizing to me for, garnering better support for these patients. We've got over 100 rare liver diseases. How do you engage so many of those communities, and what promises do you see in the future for liver patients with a rare condition?
Well, with only 5% of any rare diseases having treatment, we all seem to be in the same boat. And Global Liver Institute is really uniquely positioned to be a convener. We look for synergies between rare liver diseases and see where we can find complementary things, where we can work on them together. Sometimes you tend to get in your own little silo. So Global Liver Institute is fantastic at de-siloing information among different patient advocacy groups, which ends up trickling down to patients like myself. I'm an Alpha-1 patient, so I've personally benefited from the Global Liver Institute's A3 program already, the Advanced Advocacy, and learning how to tell my story. It was my first year. I got to watch the over 50 rare diseases come together and figure out we have things in common that we didn't understand that we have in common. I might have Alpha-1, but have some of the same issues that folks with Wilson's disease have as well. And in the future, Global Liver Institute has become very active in the RDAC for policy. And A3 was a really great medium for us to all meet and talk about the rare disease advisory councils in each of our states and how to really get active in those, which creates policy change in rare diseases. So I see a lot of hope thanks to Global Liver Institute and our patient advocacy groups that are willing to come together and talk about what we have in common.
Awesome. Gina, let's go to you. You've got so much experience in so many facets of the liver health field, which means you've spent a lot of time with researchers, with clinicians, with liver patients, and at GLI, there's this firm belief that I believe that it all starts with the patient. As Vice President of Patient and Community Engagement and the person who, frankly, is the tip of the spear for our activities, engagements, and support for liver patients, how would you describe the state of the liver patient today generally, and what aspirations should liver patients look forward to in the future?
Thanks, Jeff. And as Sarah mentioned, I think the state of liver patients currently is still very stigmatized, highly stigmatized. The dictionary definition of stigmatized is being unfairly regarded as having something to be ashamed of. And liver patients truly are still treated often as having something that could have been prevented, or something, a disease state or a condition that really carries a lot of judgment. And so I think that's where we start, and we need to really work on the stigma piece. And moving forward, we're going to see a trend in not just linkage to care, but a demand by patients and caregivers for access to quality care. So the linkage to care movement is sort of becoming passé because we need our patients to have access to quality care, in every regard, whether they're rural or in a city. There's a lot of work to be done there. We will see, I also think, a lot of buy-in and a demand for industry partnerships and advocacy being interwoven into everything that the liver community stands for and does, which, is really what GLI is here for. So thanks for the opportunity to talk.
Absolutely. So let's go to Larry now. So as GLI's, I got to say, kind of new-ish CEO, you bring a really interesting mix to the table. And you and I have often spoken and told tall tales about our mutual experiences working on Capitol Hill and in around the U.S. federal government. But now as the CEO of Global Liver, there's this really exciting opportunity to leverage your political experience with the very real needs of liver patients. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about where you see the intersection of politics, government, and liver health. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? And most importantly, what are the impacts liver patients should look forward to in their lives?
Thanks, Jeff. I'm incredibly blessed to be a newish CEO of Global Liver Institute. I've been with the organization for 4 years, but my experience, my time on the Hill, as many of you know, I spent time in the Senate and I was chief of staff in the House. And although those were good years and I learned a lot, it's a tough job. I'm glad to be doing something else. But those times really taught me about how to work a campaign, how to bring everyone together. I come from a family that we have 2 members of my immediate family that have liver disease, which is what brought me to GLI in the first place. And I feel an incredible passion to not only on their behalf, but on all patients' behalf, to make sure that we're able to communicate effectively with the elected officials and with the powers that be that control oftentimes what is our life and death matters for our patients. That includes the federal government, includes Congress, FDA, CMS. These are all these government agencies that impact our patients' lives. My hope is that we continue to grow our advocacy network and expand it and strengthen it, teaching our advocates how to tell their story in an effective way, to build that network. But as we do that, to then take the skill sets that we've learned from Jeff and Gina and myself and the rest of this amazing team at Global Liver Institute, to then drive those changes that can truly change the lives. We always say, as Jeff said, it all starts with a patient. This team here at GLI is always focused on keeping our eye on our North Star, which is how do we change the life in a positive way for patients? Are we making their lives better? Are we making their lives longer? Are we serving the caregivers that are helping those patients? Keeping our eye on that North Star and using all of the talents and skills of our amazing team is what I plan to do. And I'm excited for the opportunity to do that in the coming year. The challenges, of course, are politics. You changes Republican and Democrat, but I've been doing this for 30 years. I've seen administrations on both sides, and there are pluses and minuses always. You work with what you have and you find common ground, and we'll continue to do that over the next few years to push what the needed changes are for our patients.
Okay, y'all, thanks for that. Let's do one quick round robin question for everybody. As liver advocates, representing the needs, the wants, the support for patients in this new year of 2025, that doesn't even seem like a real number to me. It feels like something from Logan's Run. I want to ask each of you guys, what is a new year resolution you would have for the liver health community and working with patients? What's that one message you wish everyone involved in liver health could hear from patients? Let's go in the same order. Sarah, you're up first.
My one wish, first of all, I think that the best, most fun fact of liver health, when we think about how we can take control and be healthy and be proactive, is drink coffee. So we know that drinking 2 cups of coffee a day is actually really, really good for your liver. And there's about a 40% reduction in a liver cancer diagnosis just by drinking coffee. So let's all use that as a health drink. I think that's huge. Also, that means make sure our coffee is not a dessert coffee. We want to make sure that we're really looking at lowering sugar, making healthy choices, making sure that there are really bright colored fruits and vegetables on our plate, but also hand in hand with drinking coffee as well, as that's a great thing, is get screened. So if you have high risk factors associated with liver health and liver cancer, go in and talk to your doctor.
Wow, look at you with a practical recommendation. That's amazing. Kristen, give us a resolution. What are you looking forward to?
I want to see more rare liver disease patients at A3. That would be my resolution, is to really have all of my fellow rare liver disease patients get to congregate at A3 again and be empowered to talk about our stories to policymakers, and bringing folks from all over the world that really would have never had this opportunity before to have this opportunity to tell their story. And then the second year to hear, I remember you, or you created change. It was just so powerful. So sorry, Gina, my resolution is to get as many rare liver patients to Washington, D.C. as possible this year.
Awesome. Gina, I'm going to go to you. What's that one message you wish everyone involved in liver health could hear from patients? What's the resolution?
Resolution for me, or my wish, would definitely be to move the needle forward for normalizing liver health. So you go to your primary care provider and you're having your lungs checked and your heart checked and your blood pressure checked. What about the digestive system in your liver? Let's pay more attention to that and find a way to normalize liver health so that every human, as part of regular medical care and practice, is having their liver assessed.
Awesome. Larry, this leaves you.
I'm going to take little bits and pieces of everybody, because I think that these are some great ideas. In a nutshell, I think get tested and get involved. And that's part of the A3 program. It's part of Sarah's message and also Gina's. We need the patients, when they go in for just their normal checkups, we need it to be a normal situation for them to know about their liver, to ask about their liver. Hopefully their physicians are knowledgeable and asking themselves, but to get tested and to lose the stigma around that, but also then to get active, meaning be involved with GLI or a local support group, or one of our Liver Action Network groups, so that we as a community can continue to change the field to make it better, not just for the patients now, but for patients in the future.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, y'all. Those are amazing. And we have a lot of work to do. It's an exciting mountain to climb. Lily, I want to bring our producer extraordinaire, Lily, back on our virtual stage. There we go. Welcome back, Lily. So I want to include you for one last thing here, one last quick round robin question. It's easy to be excited about the promise of a new year. It's also easy to be daunted by the new year. And so we want to, it's January 2025. That's a ridiculous date. But a new year always brings new hope, new aspirations, and the promise of new joys. And I want to end this episode on a similar upward note. So let's quickly go around the room again. If you would, let's let our listeners know, as we come out of the holidays and into the new year, where have you found strength? What's something that has brought you joy in the past month? I did a puppy yoga class, good Lord. And that is just, if that's not the definition of joy, I don't know what it is. So as we're coming out of the holidays and we're approaching this great work for liver patients, where have you found strength? What's something that's brought you joy in the past month? Sarah, let's start with you again.
I love puppy yoga. That would bring me a lot of joy. I would say time spent outside in nature and just with community, surrounding yourself with people that love you and that you love.
Awesome. Kristen, Off to you.
I mean, I find pretty much joy in as a rare disease patient, every single day. I'm super healthy. I'm super active. I have a family and I have a pretty good quality of life. So waking up every day brings me joy. And I know that sounds trite, but it really does.
Yeah, you have, in our brief tenure together as colleagues, you definitely have brought some examples of your zest for life that have frankly brought me joy as well. Just listening to the stories that you tell on that as well. Gina, off to you. What's brought you joy? Where have you found strength in the past month?
Well, most of you know that I don't have a lot of, excitement in my life outside of the liver community. It's very important to me. It does bring me joy on a daily basis. And so I think the most profound thing over the past several weeks has been that I've had people connected to me in liver crisis. And I've been able to reach out by cell phone or email to our hepatology community and get them instant connection to care and instant connection to resources that they didn't have before. And so I want to really give a shout out to our hepatologists and our up and coming fellows, because they're really taking advocacy seriously. And it is something that they have chosen, the majority of them have chosen to incorporate into their practices and are excited about for the future. So that was really, that's something that rocks my world, Jeff. I got to tell you.
Larry, I want to go over to you. I know you've got a new little one. You and Sarah both have new little ones. I don't know if that's more joy or bleary-eyed mornings. Probably a little bit of both. Where are you finding strength, and have you found joy in the past month as we approach this year?
Thank you, Jeff. No, absolutely. My family, with my three children and my loving family and friends, certainly bring me great joy and give me the strength and energy. But like Gina, I spend a lot of my time working, and I enjoy that because it's a passion. So it's twofold for me. Certainly I'm to get the energy from them, but also I'm incredibly energized by this team. In my professional life, which bleeds into my personal life at every space, I'm incredibly proud and energized by this amazing team of brilliant, powerful people that we have working at Global Liver. And they get me up every morning, and I work hard for them because I know they're working hard for patients. So I'm incredibly proud and excited about the year that we have ahead of us with this team.
Awesome. You're going to see a lot of me and Lily over the course of these episodes as we do breakdowns and have little conversations after each of our guests and whatnot. So Lily, let's get that process started here. Tell us a little bit about where you find strength, about where you found joys going into this tremendous year.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of my colleagues, but I have to go superficial. If I'm going to be honest, Illinois men's basketball has brought me a lot of joy the last couple of weeks. It's my alma mater. It's the family school. It's my favorite sport, my favorite team. So
I hear you. I think I watched an Illinois game just a while over the holidays as well. So just over the things of streaming options there. So that's good to hear. Okay. Thanks all. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to join us today. That was a bit of a whirlwind, but I really hope it's giving our listeners a clearer view into the inner workings of kind of GLI, of how we approach things, and frankly, the team here, my colleagues, my friends, and about how we're going to approach, throughout the year as we discuss things in their each area of expertise. Producer Lily, thank you for joining me from backstage for the quick recap, and appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to serve our patient community in a new way. But I think it's your turn for a question. So we're reorienting the show. We're kind of relaunching. What's your pitch to our patients, to our potential audience, and their loved ones to come along on the ride with us each month?
We often talk about empowerment, we talk about education, we talk about services for patients. I think the thing that is often not appreciated as much is something that we do really well at Global Liver, which is we build community. And everything about that we build support, that we bring in people, that it is a happy, safe space for folks that may feel stigmatized, they may have questions, they may be unsure, they may be fearful or spooked by a diagnosis, or even just the promise of a diagnosis, that to me, it's really that commonality of community that we can bring together and take this ride together, to be able to ask the questions, to be able to talk with folks, to have really honest conversations about that. And as we see in next month's episode, where we focus on kind of global liver health, we'll see that as we expand, to Kristen's earlier notion about, you see in the rare community that there's so many things that they actually have in common, that as we go globally, we'll find that the liver health community, actually, we've got a great amount in common from here in Maryland to the same as those in Cameroon, the same as those in Korea or Uruguay, that we are a global community. And so I'm really looking forward to continuing to bring everybody together, to ask the important questions and to get some answers to hopefully move everybody together in the same tradition that Global Liver has always had. We're going to bring community together. We're going to help answer questions. We're going to help support, and we're going to change the field of liver health.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that was the most striking thing for me at the liver meeting, was feeling the community among patients and really wanting to draw people in who might be on the outskirts.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. All right, that sums up a great start to the beginning of Is Your Liver Healthy? I want to thank my colleagues and friends, Kristen, Sarah, Gina, Larry, for making time to help us launch this, really exciting show. And as you can probably tell, we really like working together, and are proud and honored to serve the liver patient community. Now, we'll be back in a few weeks to officially kick off our content with a focus on global issues in liver health. And that comes with the recent release of Global Liver's Global State of Liver Health report. And we've gathered experts from all over the world to talk about the issues they face and what we can learn from each other. It's Europe, it's Africa, it's Asia, it's the US. It's putting the global in Global Liver for the worldwide community of those asking, is your liver healthy? Now, for more information about liver health, be sure to find us at globalliver.org. Be sure to join the conversation at our socials on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And you're going to see the video version of this on YouTube, like I mentioned earlier, but we're also going to be available on all the latest podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Pod, Pandora, or wherever you happen to be listening. And depending on how you found us, make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes and great conversations. A thumbs up may not seem like much, but it really helps us grow awareness, education, and build support for liver patients worldwide. I'm Jeff McIntyre on behalf of producer extraordinaire Lily Bennig and the team here at Global Liver Institute, several of whom you see on screen and who have just met. We'll see you next time.